Hey, my friends. So I'm here, I guess, to give an update on how things are going as I move into this new frugal, whole food, plant-based, vegan way of eating. And I say all that because uh, I'm doing this, whole thing for health reasons. I think I explained in a previous video that I wanted to eat healthier. One, because um, I had to give up my insurance because I couldn't afford it with the uh, elimination of the subsidies, or they're dragging their feet on whatever they're going to do with it. So I decided to go whole food plant-based so I can reverse my type 2 diabetes and live as healthy a life as possible, because my goal with this channel is, as I've been starting my life from scratch, to put an emphasis on living my best life. And that means losing the excess weight that I have and getting down to a healthy body weight. I want to get down to 175, but I also need to reverse my type 2 diabetes through diet and exercise. The thing is, what nobody says with all these different videos out there, with folks who make it seem like it's easy to do all these things, it's not. It is hard work and really pushing yourself to do things that you haven't been doing for a while. I mean, my getting in this situation is because I've ignored my health to a certain degree, that I've allowed myself to eat crappy foods, a lot of fried foods, and foods that led me to become type 2 diabetic. So, and type 2 diabetes is something that takes years and years and years to develop for many people. And becoming insulin resistant takes years and years of building up of bad habits. So the idea that you're suddenly, in a week or two, suddenly going to turn to eating healthy, without any slip-ups or falling back into bad habits, is not really realistic. But it's still doable. You just have to recognize that if you have a setback, get up and keep moving forward. But also being really realistic about the journey you're taking. So I'm making this video because I want to share 5 things so far in this first month of going whole food plant-based / vegan that I've been discovering and working through, and just deciding this is a life choice I'm making right now. And in order for me to succeed at it, I have to focus on those things that are going to help me get over the hurdles. So I just want to throw out, in no particular order, some things for you to think about. First one, in my opinion, is transition into the whole food plant-based diet. Don't just do it cold turkey. As someone who's quit smoking many years ago, I think it's like approaching 9 years I've been not smoking, it was hard to do cold turkey. It was easier, though, because for me to quit smoking, because at that time I gave up meats at the same time. So trying to give up eating meat and being kind of vegetarian, vegan, it was easier to quit smoking that was to give up a hamburger. So I'm saying this to say that sometimes cold turkey works, but life is complicated. So don't give yourself these absolutes. Transition. So if, and also I'm trying to do this from a frugal standpoint. So number one, transition from your regular diet, whatever it is, to the whole food plant-based diet. So that way you're not going to your refrigerator and throwing out all the eggs and meat and milk and cheese and all that other stuff that you bought because you suddenly decided today you're going whole food plant-based. To me, the smarter thing to do is to, like I said, transition. So a lot of my meats that are edible by a dog has gone to Rusty. But when I first was starting, I increased the amount of fiber in my diet and the amount of vegetables I was eating while I was in the first few weeks, without thinking about, I'm gonna not eat any more chicken, or I'm not gonna eat any more shrimp or fish. I just worked through what was in my freezer as I got used to eating, more vegetables. Now that helped because this is a long-term thing I'm doing. So I don't have to prove to anybody, I didn't have any meat today. But if I'm working towards that, then I can just eat and put my focus on the bigger picture, which is transitioning and getting my taste buds used to not having meat anymore, not having a burger. Because even if you try and replace it with, Beyond Burger or all these other things, it still has to be a transition, because if you just switch out regular meat for your whatever fake meat you're going to be using, that stuff is not whole food plant-based. They're transitional foods by design, so that if you love burgers, you can have a burger as you get more used to eating, say like bean burgers. There are different ways you can make burgers with beans and nuts and vegetables all kind of combined into making something that tastes similar in the actions of eating it, but it doesn't taste anything like an actual burger. Beyond Burger, Impossible Burgers, those try and mimic that flavor for you, but eventually you really want to get on the whole food plant-based thing. Otherwise, you're kind of undermining yourself, in my opinion, because if I just start buying the fake meat that tastes just like beef, then I'm always going to be on a certain level craving the burger. And by that, I'll still be craving the meat. Where if I start focusing on increasing the amount of vegetables I'm eating, and fruit and nuts and beans, etc., and getting my taste buds accustomed to that food, I have a better chance of succeeding. So transition, to that. What's the second thing? This one was a challenge. Make a commitment to roasting, boiling, steaming, and eliminating frying your food. Now, that has been my biggest hurdle, is learning to stop frying foods. So, number two is making a commitment to roasting, baking, steaming, boiling your fruits and vegetables, or eating them raw, and eliminating frying foods and eliminating the use of oils as much as possible, whether it's coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. I'm not saying there's anything, wrong with those oils, because I'm not a doctor, but in terms of my reversing my type 2 diabetes, then from the school of thought that I'm following, which is the Mastering Diabetes program, eliminating oils is a major part of reversing your type 2 diabetes. It is a challenge to do that. If you don't have type 2 diabetes and you're going vegan, you don't need to necessarily cut down on the oils. But I, as somebody who is type 2 diabetic, my challenge right now is removing them from my diet. So I have been roasting and steaming, but mostly roasting, like sweet potatoes, squash, red potatoes, russet potatoes. And the thing is, I love French fries, so I'm leaning into the fact that I can still have potatoes. I just have to roast them instead of fry them. So that's where I'm having my biggest challenge, because I didn't realize how much I fried my food and found the flavor from the frying of it. So the challenge with letting go of the frying is, again, you have to train your body to like food prepared in a different way. I know a lot of this may sound repetitive, but I'm saying these things because these are things that have come up for me as I've been going through this month. And I have to admit, I am surprised that I still have coconut oil and I have olive oil in my apartment, which I'm going to transition to using for, my hair, for making different oils for my hair growth, and not for cooking. But the fact that I've been able to not just habitually pick up those oils to use for cooking has been, for me, an achievement. So I'm proud of that. But it has taken a lot of willpower to do that. And it kind of forced me to really have to kind of slow my roll with this and say, okay, this is going to be a little bit harder than expected, but I got to do this. So let me find different ways to cook without frying and replace the flavor that is lost from the cooking. So that was a trick to be able to do that, but it led me to other tips that are coming down the line. So the next one, because I wasn't frying my foods, but I was roasting, I had to learn how to flavor. This is number 3. Learn how to flavor your foods with fresh or dried herbs and spices and peppers and whatnot, that gives it not only more vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that are coming from the herbs that you're using, but you're also not relying on necessarily spices that are put together in a container for you to shake because you don't know what else you're shaking onto your food. So I go to the Burbank Farmers Market, or I go to the Middle Eastern market that I talked about in a previous video, and I pick up my fresh cayenne pepper, powdered, black and white sesame seeds, cumin, oregano, cilantro, dried or fresh. What else? Thyme. All these different spices that are there for you to experiment with from different cultures can give you things to flavor your food. I cannot stress to you how important it is for you to experiment with different spices and herbs so that your food is not bland. Because you can cook beans or potatoes or roast squash or sweet potatoes, yams, and they're good for you, but after a few days, if you don't put some spices on it, it's like you're just eating gruel. Because yes, it is good for you, but your body is not necessarily used to bland food. If you're used to bland food, hey, great. That's one less struggle. For me, I love spicy food. I love flavor. So it's really been important as I've been increasing the amount of beans that I eat, that I flavor it with garlic, with ginger, with turmeric, getting different herbs, sage, cilantro, parsley, getting them in the dried form and fresh form just gives you a variety of things to do. Using the juice of lemons, using apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, white vinegar, because vinegar helps with cutting, I think, insulin spikes or blood sugar spikes. So you want to incorporate that because it helps blunt that when you incorporate that into food. But you want to use those things so that you're giving yourself a fighting chance of not running to the nearest fast food joint and getting a burger and fries and Coke and screwing yourself over. So trust me when I say have fun experimenting with spices. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to go getting something that you've never heard of before. Like, I still have not figured out the purpose of allspice. Eventually I'll get it, but for now I'm sticking with thyme, basil, oregano, cardamom, just different spices that I'm used to, and cumin and coriander, just the kind of basics, and kind of creating things that make flavor. You can also do that with celery, carrots, and onions, or garlic, and just kind of sauteing that in some water to kind of get the flavors of those vegetables into the liquid that you're using to cook with. So number 3, flavor. Number 4, I would say, is focus on increasing your fiber intake on a daily basis. Now, I'm trying to get a lot of information from studying, some books I have, YouTube clips, but it would take me years to read through all these things without, me just kind of getting started. So I have those things as resources, but I have to kind of just get myself started, which is what I've been doing with this month, is just increasing my fiber intake to as close to 45 grams a day as possible, which you could split it to being 15 grams of protein for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But the point is to get it up to 45 grams. You don't have to do that in the first meal because it's kind of not realistic. Because the tricky thing about raising your fiber intake is that as somebody who didn't eat a whole lot of fiber-rich, foods enough to be even close to that 45 grams, I've noticed that I can get full on roasting a few potatoes and a sweet potato. Just kind of roast them together, and just eating 2 or 3 potatoes and a sweet potato can fill you up, but I don't think you've hit the 2,000 calories you want to in a day with 3 potatoes and 1 sweet potato. But it can fill you up to make you feel like, oh my God, I am stuffed, right? So I have to kind of trick myself into finding ways to add fiber. And so I'm cooking with more beans, finding beans that have a heavier, amount of fiber in it, or foods that have, a lot more fiber. So, I try and have around either a glass of the spirulina in water and add some chia seeds to it so that I'm getting soluble fiber into that. Or I add chia seeds to green tea. I add chia seeds to water and just let it soak. And as I'm drinking, I'm, getting the extra fiber in, or making some protein shakes that also allow me to add some fiber to the shake. And I kind of, instead of drinking the shake like I would drink the water or the tea, I kind of do it more like it's a soup. And I take either small sips or I use a spoon for the smoothie. So it's kind of like a meal in itself, but it's a way of getting more fiber in different ways. You don't want to have a lot of your meals be smoothies because you want to kind of, give your body the time to slowly digest food, as opposed to in a smoothie, you risk having serious blood sugar spikes. So, you can try and find things to add to the smoothie that'll help blunt the spike. But that's kind of, I guess, the fun of this journey, is figuring out ways to get your fiber at a high enough level. I'm going with the 45 grams because it was something that I've heard a number of times through watching some clips on the Mastering Diabetes. And I got their audiobook, which I'm going to check out, and I will put a link to their book on Amazon in case that's something you want to check out. Look, too. But so I'm using Mastering Diabetes, folks, as my kind of guide for how I'm figuring this out for myself. Because it's nice to have a resource, but I'm trying to do this in a way that enables me to be consistent. And as I've discovered with doing that, trying to meet that bar of 45 grams, I'm realizing, one, that I have to be very strategic in how I'm getting these things done and getting myself the nutrition I need, because like I said, the fiber can fill you up quickly, but you don't want to get into a habit of eating just small amounts of food with fiber and not reaching your 2,000. I'm going with 2,000 calories a day. so that when I'm doing the intermittent fasting, everything is kind of as if I was eating, regular food, which is what I'm doing anyway. But with junk food, you can eat a lot more, and uh, those hormones that kind of tell you're full don't kick in the way they do with eating, you know, raw foods, whole foods. So you just have to kind of make sure you're eating enough food. I know that may sound strange. That's why they say, with the whole food plant-based diet, they give you yellow foods, green foods, and red foods. Red foods are stuff you want to avoid as much as possible. Yellow are foods that you want to eat in moderation, but are still, have a lot of healthy components to it. And green foods are foods that they say you can just eat as much as you want. So I'm trying to find my way with those, green foods to eat, and avoiding the red foods as much as possible, and dipping into the yellow. So I'll go into another video, or you could look up Mastering Diabetes and find out what those different categories of foods are. But I'll get those in another video. But the point is that you want to increase your amount of fiber while you're also hitting your caloric goals. So 2,000, calories a day is standard. So I want to keep my eating as though it's standard, even though it's whole food plant-based. So I need to learn how to cook, which is, I guess, the biggest takeaway from all of this is learning how to cook within the parameters of not frying, of having the food have flavor to it, and eating enough fiber-rich foods in balance with, other, whole food plant-based foods that help you reach your caloric requirements. So I know that was a big one. What is that? Was that 3? Okay. I'm lost at this point. The next one, I think, 4 that I learned is learning to cook in batches. So a lot of times when I was cooking, it's kind of like a one-pot thing that I'd be frying everything in. But now what I'm trying to do is kind of cook things in batches, so that I'll make like a big pot of pinto beans, for example. In another pot, I'll make garbanzo beans. In another thing, I'm roasting potatoes, or roasting sweet potatoes in the oven, right? So if I have one tray of potatoes, another tray, with sweet potatoes or squash, and then I have, pinto beans, and the garbanzo beans. I can have another thing on the stove making like quinoa or brown rice. And I make all those things, and I can put them in containers, and I can kind of mix and match them with different, things, either together, like taking the garbanzo beans and making a portion of them into hummus, or taking a portion of the garbanzo beans and making falafels that I bake instead of fry. Or taking the pinto beans and I make kind of like refried beans out of it, so that I have something kind of smooth and creamy with one thing. Another thing I can use to make, falafel, make pitas with the falafel and different vegetables stuffed in there. And I can just do different food combining, and then combine them into different salads, taking some of the roasted, potatoes or the sweet potatoes, add them to, some spinach, arugula, or make something with cooking up some shrimp and throwing in some of the beans, or other vegetables in with the cooked shrimp to make cooked shrimp, spinach to make another kind of dish. But I say that because when I was first kind of trying to make a meal, I would make this one big meal, and I realized, oh my God, I'm gonna have to eat this, all week long. Like my first example, I decided I was gonna try and make, what is it? Oh, I'm blanking. With pinto beans, refried beans, you make. I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was basically you have the tortilla chips and refried beans and different, tomatoes, garlic, onions, kind of like nachos. Nachos. Oh my God, that's what it is. Nachos, right? So I made the nachos, and it was all healthy with the refried beans, and I had my tortilla chips that I bought and kind of chopped and kind of dried in the oven as I was, making it. Chopped up different vegetables, kind of put in there the tomatoes, garlic, onions, some serrano peppers, put all the stuff in there. Made the pinto beans, and then I blended them, and I poured it all over it. I got some vegan cheese, put that on top of it, and made my nachos. Oh my God. Just this huge thing of nachos. And it was so lacking in flavor that it was almost like eating cardboard. I was like, oh my God, all right, this is a big plate of it. I don't know how I'm gonna get through all of it. What I ended up doing was taking bits of the, because it was heavy on the pinto beans, and I don't know how to describe it, but as somebody who likes a lot of flavor, eating beans without kind of adding different spices to it, it's a challenge to eat. Even though you're eating healthy, it just tastes so bland. So I got a little pan, put some water, chopped up some garlic, took some cumin, some thyme, basil, oregano, and started boiling them, or simmering them in the water in the pot that I had. And then I took, some of the nachos, put it into that flavored, water, and the nachos kind of became more of like a pinto bean stew, because it wasn't so liquidy that it was like soup, but it was more like a stew. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but when I add water to the pinto beans, even if they're cooked, it's like it keeps absorbing, the fluid. So it's kind of this creamy soup-like stew that had all the vegetables, the onions and garlic and peppers from the original nachos I were making. But it became this kind of creamier dish that had more flavor because of the flavoring that I added to it. And it helped me get through the entire container because just adding that flavor made it so much easier to eat, and I didn't have to waste that food, because sometimes, I'm not some great chef, and you can make something and you can realize, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to eat this entire thing. I know it. So adding that flavor helped me save that dish. I mean, it was a big, dish of nachos that I made, and luckily I was able to save it by recognizing, hey, I've got flavor, and I'm trying to be frugal here, so I can't afford to throw out that dish. So what did I do? Mix it all in, made a slightly different dish. So it's not nachos, but it's healthy. I got in a ton of fiber from making the beans that I had more flavorful. So it was a win. So I'm saying all that to say you have to recognize your limitations. And while you may find a YouTube channel or a book that has all these different recipes in it, if you're not some great cook, having that recipe in front of you is not necessarily going to help you in your early days. You just want to be eating the right foods and then start slowly experimenting with different recipes that'll get you on track with your goals, right? So you mainly want to learn how to flavor your food, figure out some recipes that'll become staples for you, but don't count on those recipes because some recipes may be so elaborate that you're like, okay, I don't have the money to get all these ingredients in order for me to make this thing. So you find recipes that work for you within your budget. But until then, learn how to use the different herbs and spices to make what you have flavorful, and do things in batches so that if you're not somebody who can eat the same thing over and over again, you can take one container of stuff and make different things with it so that you're keeping yourself engaged with your whole food plant-based eating. Okay, what is the last one? The last one, oh, I think I covered all 5. So 1, transition, don't go whole food plant-based cold turkey. Give yourself a deadline. Say the first week, or look at your refrigerator and see how much meat you have, because if you're trying to do this frugally, transitioning over a 2-week period to eat what you have in your refrigerator is not going to kill you. But if you were to throw it away, it may drive you crazy that you wasted that food. So eat that food, but increase the amount of whole food plant-based stuff that you have mixed in it so that you are literally transitioning and you're not feeling guilty because you're still eating the meat that you already bought. Work through it, transition out of it, and slowly use the time building up recipes that you can make rather quickly. The other thing about doing things in batches, like I said, is it saves you time that you don't have to feel stuck eating the same thing over and over again. You can find something that can use maybe 1 of the 4 or 5 things you cooked in a batch, or you can, you can just find unique ways of doing things, and it'll save you ignoring something in your refrigerator until it spoils. Because the thing about eating whole food plant-based is that fruits and vegetables spoil relatively quicker than processed food stuff. That's kind of like the price you pay for eating healthier. So you want to be strategic in cooking so that you can not spend so much time every day cooking some elaborate dish. You can choose a day, like a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday night, and cook a variety of things, put them in containers, put it in your freezer, your refrigerator, and give yourself kind of like a base for a variety of different meals. And at the end of the week, you can look and see what you have before it spoils and see what kind of concoction you can come up with. Because what I did today was, I looked in my refrigerator and I saw I had quite a bit of garbanzo beans and roasted potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes in containers, and I took them, put them all into a blender, and it's made like this thick bean soup that I'm having, which is great, and it's giving me the fiber I need. It's allowing me to use up the food that I've made over the course, of the last few days, and using it before it goes bad. So I'm trying to think of these things from a frugal standpoint because I want to stay consistent with this and not go crazy buying all these elaborate, vegan, whole food, items that I don't really like all that much. Like, I haven't had squash in a while, so I'm learning to add that into my diet so that I have the fiber that I need and the vitamins from the squash. But I'm adjusting to eating that food. Eventually, I'll find, the more I do this, healthier dishes that I just really love. But it's going to be a challenge. So give yourself a break. And like, I'm recognizing I'm on this pace for myself. So yes, I want to reverse my type 2 diabetes as soon as possible. But in order to do that, I have to hit those high fiber goals. I have to eliminate the oil from my diet. Again, if you're not type 2 diabetic or type 1 diabetic, you don't have to worry about eliminating the oil if you don't want to. But that's what I'm doing in order to do the things I need to help make the changes within my body so that I can reverse the type 2 diabetes. So I have to be strategic in finding ways to keep making food that I'm eating interesting, having foods that can replace the dessert. So I think I said in a previous video, chia seeds are one of the smartest things you can have in your cabinet because it will supply you with the soluble fiber that you need. But you can also make a few good desserts just with the chia seeds, soak it in coconut milk or almond milk, adding some different fruits to it, adding it to a smoothie, adding it to any liquid to get that fiber in. So you always want to have some chia seeds, around. But you want to kind of find some whole food plant-based meals that you really like, but you're only going to get there by taking it slowly and, like I said, transitioning in all these different areas, whether it's, learning to work with the spices, learning to get off of the meat, get off of the oil, experiment with the healthy foods that you have to make just small, meals. Not everything has to be like it's a 7-course meal. You just have to hit your caloric goals. And also, the last thing is stop eating by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I say that because you really want to give your body as much time as possible to process the food you've eaten during the day and have while you're sleeping, because I think they call it a circadian rhythm. Your body has a rhythm to it so that when you're sleeping, you're doing a lot of internal healing. And if the healing is interrupted by having to digest food because you decide to eat something at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, it's one of the worst things you could do for your body, no matter what, form of dieting I've researched. The one thing that they said is to make sure you stop eating by 7 or 8. If you can do it earlier, hey, great. But you want to have at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, you're ending your last meal, the last bit of food. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's healthy or not. Don't con yourself. You want to stop eating because you need to have your body not be digesting throughout the night, because you're keeping your body from doing certain repairs that it needs to do. One last thing. Also, recognize that even though you're eating healthier, depending upon where you are in your health state, you're going to have, I guess, what they call a healing crisis on certain days, where you're just going to feel exhausted or tired, or your body's going to feel achy. And that's actually a good thing. So when you wake up or going through the day and you're just kind of feeling, recognize that it's not because you're suddenly eating these healthy foods and it's just crap. It's your body using the nutrition that it's getting from the healthy foods that you're eating, and it's healing parts of your body that needs to be healed. So you're gonna feel like your digestive system is kind of off, or your stomach may hurt, or you feel tired and run down. That should be kind of a temporary thing. If it's lasting a long while, then you want to check on what's going on. But just know your body's going to go through periods where it's literally taking the vitamins and nutrition that you're eating from the whole food plant-based diet, and it's healing parts of your body that have been out of whack from your bad eating habits. So, all right, that's it for now. Hopefully this made sense. One, I'll just go over again. One, transition. You don't have to do it cold turkey. If you're able to do it cold turkey, hey, more power to you. But transitioning helps you save money and helps you gradually get used to your taste buds to the new foods. Second, make the commitment to roasting, steaming, boiling your food as opposed to frying. Eliminate frying as much as possible. Eliminate the use of oils. You can get some of the healthy fats from nuts and seeds and whatnot that are included with fiber, so that it's healthier for you, and not, using oils that you think are really great for you if you don't have to. If you don't have to, why add those extra, calories if you don't need it? I'm specifically doing it, again, because I'm trying to reverse my type 2 diabetes. Third, focus on increasing your fiber intake over time as much as possible to get up to like 45 grams of fiber, and recognize that you still want to keep your calories at 2,000 grams. Right now, I'm not at that place where I'm measuring all of this stuff. I'm just trying to, in this first month, increase the amount of fiber I have, eliminate the use of oil, and eliminate frying. That's where my head is for this month of February. Because if I'm able to do those things, then going into March, I have a better chance of succeeding and continuing on. But I'm also giving my body this time to burn through the fat and accumulation of having everything be fried by roasting things, by steaming, doing those different things. It creates a different flavor profile. So again, you want to go to the next one, which is learning to add spices to your foods, vegetables that have a flavor to it that'll add it to your dish, so that you enjoy eating this food. And the last one is stopping eating between 7 and 8. And I think that is it. There are more things that are going to come up, and I will share with you as I discover them, but I just wanted to get those things out to you let you know where I am on my whole food plant-based journey. It's a challenge. I do feel like I'm on a healthier path. I'm not going to weigh myself until the end of the month because I don't want to get too wrapped up in it. Right now, I'm just focused on making these dietary changes, and next month I'll try and focus on measuring out, or keeping note of how much fiber I'm eating, how much spices I'm using, different things, how much protein I'm eating. So I'm hitting all those goals and still staying within the 2,000 calories per day. So I hope that is helpful to you. I am happy I am doing this because I know, even though I'm not doing measuring stuff, I'm feeling for the most part better, and I know that what I'm eating is healthier than what I've been eating before. So you could take what I'm saying to heart. Try one or two of the suggestions I've made and see if it helps you. If you're on a weight loss journey, trying to go whole food plant-based. But if I can stress anything, is be good to yourself as you're doing this, because eating is one of the joys of life. So you don't want to make eating something where it feels like it's a drudgery, especially if you're eating healthy foods. So look at it as a way to challenge yourself to find whole food plant-based meals that you enjoy eating, that hit all of the health notes that you need. And eventually you'll see the progress when it comes to weight loss, but there is going to be a period where you are not going to feel all that great because your body is actually healing itself using the foods that you eat. All right, that's it for now. Hope you guys got something from it. Feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion, because I am not an expert on this. I am learning as I go, and I'm really trying to do whatever it is I can to stay on track with the whole food plant-based diet without breaking my budget. Okay? Besos. Love you guys, and I will try and put out as many of these as I can as I learn new things on this journey. Okay, take care. I will talk to you soon. Again, besos.